Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life. A Professor Sunreis Productions! Hello class, Professor Sunreis here. In today's class, we're taking a look at Bystial Control, exactly post Cyberaccess Storm or whatever it's called. I don't fucking know. It's gonna release in the start of May, and the meta is definitely gonna switch a little bit, probably even more than we anticipate because of a new ban list, hitting maybe the likes of Kashira a little bit, hitting some annoying staple cards, who knows. So there's gonna be a huge question mark for the whole meta. With Super Heavy Samurais being a super strong deck, but having some significant weaknesses here and there to be preyed on, but also a lot of new stuff coming around for Bystials with cards like Bystial Disparta right on the corner. You just need to figure out a way to get to it because level 4 tuners are super hard to access for Bystials exactly. Dragonlink doesn't really have that big of a problem, they can just play the Rocket Engine, but I did a video on that already and I don't think it's going to be a very good tool for the first turn combo. But the way you play Dragonlink right now, you will just go for like a very solid, very standard first turn board anyways, especially if you play against stuff like Runic, like I didn't showed you guys in the last video. Maybe it's not going to be online until this one is online, who knows, but I did a video on that. So you will probably don't really need that, and then you just have this very big push in the Bystial Disparta in there. So Dragonlink is basically solved for how you will use this Disparta in there. You probably will just put it in there and then just have it there for when you need it post turn 1. But for Bystial Control, there's a lot of different stuff, especially with the new cards coming around in Guiding Quem. There's a lot of value you can get from there. So without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave some feedback down in the comment section below, and let's get right into the video. So I did a lot of testing with Bystial Control with this Disparta exactly, and I just wanted to showcase you guys what I figured out, what would be good ways to play with this card. So here we have very interesting, more or less standard Bystial Control list, just some few changes. So just take a look at it and let's see how we incorporated the new card. So we have, of course, the standard Bystials. We do max out on Serenias just because they do combo so well with Guiding Quem. And then we have one Bystial Aluba. I don't know if you want to play this card, but this is a very easily accessible level 4 tuner for when you want to go into a Disparta or maybe even a Baron post turn 1. So post turn 1, you had it a lot of times where you Rebellion, yeah, it can search you a Bystial, but it doesn't really do a lot apart from being a big beat stick on the board. So now you can search an Aluber, normal summon it. You will probably have access to another Bystial either way because you have cards like Chaos Emperor or something like that. And then you can just make a very good Baron or Bystial Disparta post turn 1 and just control the board off that alone. It's also searchable normal summon, so if you have Rebellion plus any other Bystials, you can at least go into Seal Pass without like using your life savings for that. So that seems pretty good. Still one branded Regain, one branded Beast. You do have branded branded Etude, which is a very good card. During either player's turn, you can immediately after this effect resolve Synchro Summon using monsters your opponent controls as materials, including a dragon monsters. You control, not your opponent controls. So you can use stuff like Aluba, stuff like Guiding Quem, and your Bystials to go into very strong Synchro 10s. I'm not sure if this is really that good because you will be needing a lot of setup. You will need a way to get a Aluba on the board, which is something hardest thing. You can summon it off Seal, you can summon it off a branded Regain, but so you have to send it there with Serenia, and then you also need another Bystial, which is also not hard because we still have Seal plus the one we search off Magnemon. So getting there is not too hard, but you have to get there while also basically setting up these two because spot removal will be very strong next format. Because Super Heavy Samurais really struggle against that, and Man Regain is just the best card in the deck, right? So just getting a space for that is gonna be very tough, but it does have another effect, so maybe you will use it for that one instead. While you control a Bystial monster, any monster sent to your opponent's graveyard because they were tributed for a ritual summon or used as a material for a fusion, synchro, or link summon are banished instead. This does have some nice applications against Super Heavy Samurais as well. Because the best card in their deck, the normal one, the old one, which is spiking in price, I'm going to showcase you guys here, does want to be in the graveyard, but also the new Pendulum card also wants to be get into the graveyard, so it can get put on top of the extra deck, but also being put back into the scale. So it does have some applications here and there. So if you are You could want to get into this, but having a third spell trap is cute for this deck. But also, I would probably just play second Regen after this. Instead of this, you do have the some nice cards in Branded and High Spirits, giving you more access into your both Quem, but also into your spell traps via the Albion, sending that off the extra deck. But I did test with it, and I'm not really a fan of it. Just like basically hand looping yourself for not even having combo then just seems like a very bad idea in my opinion, especially with Droll becoming more and more popular even next format. Then we have the standard Chaos Pace Safer package. I was testing without that and playing the Branded in High Spirits. And then also putting stuff like the Cartasia in there. And I didn't really like it. It does go deep into the Branded stuff, and you do have some nice lines there with Quem, with Albion, sending an Albus, summoning Cartesia out for free, but it just seems very all-in-y for a deck which basically wants to control and play with 3 engine cards at maximum. And like combos like these, they chew through your engine cards like it's nothing, and they don't even give you that much. So I'm not a huge fan of them, especially because your Branded spell traps are so accessible already, basically forcing you to play a third one, just adding another brick for like a very mediocre all-in combo which crumbles through disruption. I'm not a fan. So I went back to the Sacred package. No black metal though, because you don't really have the space. Instead of the black metals, you do play the Guiding Quem, which is an insane card. On normal or special, you can send one Albus or one card that mentions it from the deck to the graveyard. You know that this card is an Albus in the field or graveyard, so you can't send this sadly, I think, because it doesn't mention Albus, right? Oh, it does mention one of Albus, so you can send it anyways. So the combo does work. I was just questioning it there. And the second effect is also very strong. If a card leaves the extra deck, you can target one Fallen of Albus or one monster that mentions it in the graveyard and special summon it. You cannot use it in this variant with the Branded and High Spirits and stuff like Cartasia. You do have some nice extension lines with that, but those play into cards like Nibiru like it's nobody's business, so I'm not really a huge fan of this. All this is really here is because Guiding Quem plus 1 Bystial is a very strong combo into a setup with Bystial Disparter and can be extended off with other cards. So I really like this because this is like a normal summon which does more than the Sacred, but then again Sacred, because we play 3 Siren, became even stronger off a normal summon. So I'd rather have this one maxed out, and together with Bystial Aluba we already have 6 normal summons, so it felt kind of bad to put in another Quem, because then you will just start to brick on normal summons, because we especially still have the Albus there. Of course, Albion and Albus is send targets for the Guiding Quem, Albion being a solid card by itself. You guys all know it, sending Regain or sending Albus is huge. I'd like to play more of this, and I was testing with like 3 Albion, 3 Quem, 3 Branded and High Spirits, and then playing a Cartasia, but this just uses way too much of your main deck space and doesn't allow you to go for the Safers and Chaos space, and these cards are just way too strong for Bystial Control in my opinion. So maybe with some more testing, maybe you could go up to like 50 cards or something. You can do something crazy like this, where you go for like more of the Branded and High Spirit stuff. You can see I don't play Albion at 3 here, but these are just some very interesting ideas I wanted to test. But overall, I think the more or less this is like something which is very solid and standard. And then we still have 12 slots for non-engine, even 13 if you count in the driver. So you could maybe even up this to 14 if you like cut like an Aluba or like a Serenia. So there's still your very solid foundation of very high amount of non-engine to support your Bystial Control game plan. And for the extra deck, it's pretty standard. You do want to play the Disparter, of course, but also a Barone I think is very good, because you can recycle your Lubus, you can get it out of the graveyard with Regain. You will have a grind game, so I think 2 Synchro 10s is pretty standard. Of course, you also have the Chaos Angel, which you probably also want to play in this deck just because it is so goddamn strong and so easily generically accessible for this deck. So this is probably the Synchro 10 lineup you want to go for. And with Branded Etude, let's get this card out again. With Branded Etude, you also just have abilities to go into those into your opponent's turn. So maybe you really want to play this, but I didn't really see the setup lines where this card is like really strong. Of course, it can be very solid, but I think it will just brick you a lot of times as well. And then you have your standard Mirror Jade line. I was playing the second Lubellion or the second target for the Mirror Jade just because of the Branded and High Spirits. Now that I'm not playing it, you could probably argue to cut this. I'm not a huge fan of this one, but it does definitely have its spot that maybe can come up, because we don't really need a lot of the extra deck anymore. Without a second normal summon, I don't think like a Pisty would come up all too often. You could argue to put in a Pisty just because of the Diabolos loop, but I'm thinking Diabolos will be cut, so I don't think you have to like banned, not cut. So I don't think you have to change a whole lot out of your extra deck to combat Kashira exactly. And then we have the standard 2 seals, Dark Unicorn, Access Code, no Masquerena, because the spot got the space got a little tighter, but not too tight. And then the standard Atune, Gaia, a Zeus line. You could also cut the Gaia and then maybe put in a Masquerena or something. So this seems like a very solid deck in my opinion. Just like Bystial Control in the past, but you do have the Guiding Quem and the one Bystial Aluba to get into your Bystial Disparter. But speaking about that, how does the combo exactly look like? Well, the combo with the Guiding Quem and any Bystial basically, but of course it best would be Lubellion or Serenia, so you get access to your Lubellion, is pretty standard. So we use our Lubellion here to get access into the Magnamid. And then we just normal summon the Quem, effect Quem to be sending either an Albaz or an Lubellion, Albion, sorry. With the Cartesia line and the Renton High Spirits, there's some very nice lines here and there, but honestly, I don't really think they are all too good. We will be sending an Albion in this case, and then we use the Magnamid on the Albion, triggering the Magnamid in the meantime, and then we just synchro off those two into our Disparter, effect Disparter to summon the Albion, and then we tribute off the Albion for the Lubellion. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th summon. So we are playing around Nibiru quite effectively in this one, and we will be sending the setting the branded beast, and then we can synchro these two off into a seal. Link these two off into a seal, and then we can use the Albion on the graveyard to send a regain to the deck, to the graveyard, and then put this on the bottom of the deck. And now in end phase, we can use our branded beast to put this into the spell trap zone, and then we can use our Magnamid to search a Druze Worm. And then in the opponent's turn, once they commit into something, we can use a branded regain to put the Disparter onto the board again. We can use a Druze Worm to banish one of our Bystials here, or like a Guiding Quem. It doesn't really matter. Probably you want to banish the Quem. So now that your Disparter is alive, you can also do something from the opponent, of course, and we still have the seal to summon back a Magnamid out of the graveyard. Overall, you do have a lot of tools. Remember, we have 3 cards in hand still with that, so any extension, like any extra Bystial and your Disparter is alive immediately. Any hand traps, and this basically becomes unstoppable. You could also, like I said, play the Branded Etude, and if you have like any of these hard draw, maybe you could get set up the Branded Etude. Overall, there's still a lot of room to improve with the Guiding Quem combos, but I'm really liking it because setting up the Disparter early on is very strong with the Branded Regain. You could, of course, also maybe, like, if you have a Chaos Space with it, you could, instead of going into Disparter, you could go into a Baronne going first. There's just a lot of stuff you can do with this deck. Arguably, you want to still maybe play the Masquerena just to extend if you have, like, a Chaos Space. But like I said, this is, like, a very, like, the deck is in its infinite choose, basically. But Guiding Quem seems like a very solid normal summon for Bystial Control exactly. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this, like, quick showcase of what I've been testing, like, in the last, I would say, like 1.5 days, 2 days, just getting this very raw theory out for you guys. I felt like you would be interested in it. So definitely, if you have been testing with Bystial Disparter, Dragon Link, Bystial Control, definitely let me know. I'm always down for some improvement for these lists. If you've tested a lot with Branded High Spirits, definitely let me know. There were a few of you guys already telling me about it. Definitely thank you for putting it on my radar. I wouldn't have thought about playing it, but overall, I'm not too happy with it. Maybe you found like some nice secret hidden sauce with it. Definitely let me know in the comment section down below. Without further ado, class is dismissed. You guys are free to leave. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.